Hey,
POG back, and welcome back to another video. As you can see, my mic quality has increased, thankfully, because I finally moved. And I got my old mic back. So, anyways, we are here today to go over a new video with a lot of sources, a lot of facts. Well, facts on my side, that is. This video that we're gonna watch is full of shit. So, today we're going over Lauren Chen once again. But anyways, without further ado, let's just get into this video about puberty blockers where she says a lot of dumb shit.
hey, Lauren here. Let's talk about the terrifying truth behind puberty blockers. Because when this whole trans issue first started really coming to the forefront of our civil discourse, we had all of these LGBT activists on the left assuring us that, hey now, we are just talking about well-informed, consenting adults making decisions about their own bodies, okay? This has nothing to do with anyone else. This doesn't affect you guys. This is just a live and let live situation. And these grown-ups, again, they can do whatever they want with their own bodies.
That argument remains unchanged. The only thing that has changed since then is that we also want to get kids this kind of treatment because this kind of treatment has been shown to help kids. Trans kids, I mean, with their transitioning and stuff. That's the only thing that has changed since then. Adults can still do what they want.
Well, yeah, that lasted for like 2 whole minutes. Because inevitably, eventually, the conversation turned toward the issue of children. Yeah, before long, these trans activists, despite what they had initially assured us, started popularizing the concept of trans kids, which, by the way, is one of the most cursed phrases to ever come into existence.
It would be cursed back in like the 90s or something, but currently we have plenty of data and science to back up the idea that kids will find their gender identity around ages of 3 to 5. And we even have a study called the Trans Youth Project, which has been tracking kids since 2013, showing that kids will almost always stay with their gender identity even if they're trans. This was actually even cited around over a year ago by Cindy Watson. I even covered it in this video, which I'm going to show you right now.
One that I found the most compelling is that doctors don't actually know which children should transition. Christina Olsen, a research psychologist at the University of Washington, puts it this way: we just don't have definitive data one way or another.
Yes, we do, and I'm going to show you a few studies which show that. Give me 1 second. I'm going to show you, by the way, this whole article. I'm going to show you more context to this article that she cited. She left it linked in her video. So this was a big flaw because let's take a look. Let's take a look at this article real quick. We don't have definitive data one way or another. Let's see. So she's studying 300 trans kids from USA to Canada and tracking them over the next 2 decades. This long study started in about 2013, I believe, and we're gonna see that on her Wikipedia page. But let's take a look. Let's take a look at how it's going so far. More recently, however, Olsen's research has shown children who are allowed to transition socially are no more depressed and only marginally more anxious than other children, according to data collected from the first 3 years of her study. The kids in our study seem to be doing quite well, Olsen said, which is particularly surprising because past work with transgender teens and adults, as well as previous work with gender nonconforming kids, has suggested that these kids have very high rates of anxiety and depression. So far, it's disagreeing with Sydney with her narrative about trans kids not being trans at all and detransitioning and stuff. Let's take a look at her Wikipedia page too, by the way, which I found. It's called the Trans Youth Project, by the way, and it looks like it's over 350 children actually. But let's see what it has to say. Recent findings from this project indicate that transgender children are not confused, delayed, pretending, or oppositional with regards to their gender identity. So let's actually take a look at their website real quick. University of Washington, where this is happening. Let's take a look. Change your pronouns, blah, 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 blah. Children who identify as the gender matching their sex at birth tend to gravitate toward the toys, clothing, and friendships stereotypically associated with that gender. Let's take a little bit more of a look around here. You can read. I'll link this by the way in the description when I edit it. When asked to identify their gender, an equivalent percentage of cisgender and transgender children, 83 and 84% respectively, named their current gender. Okay, anyways. So not only does pretty much all the data, which isn't flawed and uses dumb methodology, prove that transgender kids exist, even studies which her own friends like Sydney Watson have cited show that transgender kids exist and detransitioning is super rare. This is not cursed. This is basic scientific fact whether you like it or not.
And so it's like, okay, now we have 5-year-olds whose wine moms are insisting that they're trans because they picked up a Barbie one time and instead of an action figure, but it's okay, we were told. Obviously, children are young and mentally immature, so when it comes to trans kids, the transition is just social. You know, we're gonna let them wear whatever clothes they want, maybe go by a different name, but don't worry, we're not gonna do anything medical to them, definitely not anything that's not reversible if they grow up and change their minds and decide that, hey, you know what, I'm actually not trans.
That argument is still being made. You can go down that path if you want if you're trans. If you can't afford puberty blockers or a surgery, that's fine. You can still social transition. That's still a path that you could take. But we're also adding the path of puberty blockers and top surgeries for kids who are like 12, 13 for puberty blockers, and I think it's 16 and above for top surgeries and stuff like that. And then you obviously have to be like of age for genital surgery and stuff like that. But yeah, the argument still holds up. It hasn't changed at all. It's just that we've added other paths for trans kids to go down.
But again, that narrative lasted like, what, several months at the most? Because all of the progressive left doesn't really like to talk about it. If you follow this channel and if you follow accounts like Libs of TikTok on Twitter, I can never give her enough praise.
Oh yeah, I wonder why Lauren Chen, the lady who does nothing but spew propaganda that harms trans people and the LGBT in general all day, would love an account that is sent nothing but harassment and terrorist threats to hospitals, individuals, and sent Proud Boys to a drag show filled with kids. Yeah, I wonder why Lauren would be in support of that account.
You will know that yes, they are medically transitioning children now. They are doing medical procedures, including and up to surgeries on people who are underage because they believe that they're a different gender, or maybe no gender, or perhaps multiple genders.
Gender transition surgery and the hormone therapy and stuff is meant to have you transition between the binary genders, man and woman. This doesn't have anything to do with like non-binary and stuff usually. This is just incoherent at this point. She just keeps showing she has no idea what the fuck she's talking about.
And we've discussed things like 15-year-old girls getting double mastectomies or top surgeries in previous videos, but today I would really like to focus on the issue of hormone blockers because those drugs are one of the earliest medical intervention that these so-called trans kids are getting. It's a heavy topic and really it's one that angers me more than almost any other issue nowadays. But it's important to talk about. Before we get into it, I do want to say a huge thank you to today's sponsor. So even though we would all hope that children being given puberty blockers would be some sort of fringe issue that only like this small proportion of society believes is okay.
You know what else used to be fringe? Women's suffrage movements. You know what else used to be fringe? Civil rights. You want to know what else used to be fringe? Abolishing slavery. Just because something is fringe doesn't automatically make it bad, Lauren.
believes is okay. Unfortunately, that's not true. I've said it before here, I'll say it again, the slippery slope is slippery. And now giving underage children, we're talking about kids perhaps as young as 10 at some point, giving these children puberty blockers, it's now just accepted as what you should do medically if a child tells you they think they're the wrong gender.
Holy crap, dude. Lauren, do you think we're just injecting puberty blockers into 10-year-olds just because they say they're trans? No, that's not how that works. There is criteria. You can literally look it up. It takes like 5 seconds to see what the criteria is for puberty blockers. Come on, man. You make this way too easy.
Don't believe me? Well, as Libs of TikTok highlighted,
AKA the fucking terrorist, I'm just saying.
here's a video from the Children's Hospital of Pittsburgh, which frankly, to me at least, almost seems like a promotional video for puberty blockers.
Hi, my name is Priya Dar. I'm one of the doctors at the Center for Adolescent and Young Adult Health here at the Children's Hospital of Pittsburgh. I wanted to talk to you guys today a little bit about puberty blockers. Puberty blockers are basically a medication that says, hey, let's just put a pause on puberty. And that can be really beneficial for younger kids who have already started the puberty process, who either might go through a lot of psychological distress as they go through puberty if they're struggling with gender dysphoria, or for somebody who's saying, hey, I'm not really sure if I feel comfortable in my body or what gender I truly identify with.
Yep, cheery, happy music, and here you have this doctor telling you that, oh, puberty blockers just put a pause on puberty with, I guess, no side effects because you didn't mention any, and as if you could just put a pause on like an essential biological function.
Lauren, it's a little promotional ad going over the basics of puberty blockers. They're going to let them know what all the side effects are when they arrive to the clinic, or the parents can look them up themselves. It's not like... Dude, oh my gosh, man, this is so fucking dumb.
And if that video wasn't concerning enough, apparently we also have doctors out there who are just so passionate about drugging these kids with puberty blockers? Dude, we drug kids all the fucking time. We put them on like Concerta and shit for ADHD and antidepressants if they're depressed. That's like a common thing we do for everybody all the time. We always drug people with medical drugs to solve their problems. With puberty blockers that they even spend their own free time on social media promoting the process.
We need to talk about what's happening in Texas. The governor is trying to take away vital health care for transgender kids and labeling it as child abuse. Giving gender-affirming care to transgender children is medically necessary and supports their health and well-being. Did you know in many states you can get certain types of health care without your parents being there or ever finding out about it? It's today's Daily Doctor Facts. To figure out if you can get care, sends parentals, go to your state health department website and find the laws related to teen health, consent, and confidentiality.
Okay, so I want to be really, really clear here and assure you all that I am not being hyperbolic when I say that I believe these people are genuinely evil, trying to mutilate children both chemically and surgically in the name of this gender ideology. It's the closest thing to literal Satanism being accepted in mainstream society that I personally have seen. Because when it comes to this type of stuff, we're not just talking about, oh, this TV show had like some edgy symbolism. No, it's like they're mutilating children. These people are predatory. They are evil and they must be stopped.
Lauren. You're denying healthcare to children, which has been proven time and time again to improve the mental well-being of these children. You are supporting a terrorist Twitter account, Libs of TikTok, who is putting lives in danger because of your retarded ideology. You are not proposing any kind of counter solution to help these trans youth at all, only complaining about the solutions which work. The only sanest scumfuck is borderline subhuman pieces of shit like you, who push a disgusting anti-science ideology which only leads to suicides, pain, and discrimination. Absolutely fucking disgusting. Your projection will not work.
Really, there is no word in my vocabulary that is harsh enough or critical enough to describe what I think of people like those doctors. I mean, of all the things you could choose to be passionate about in this life, why on earth would anyone choose to make giving hormone blocking or even cross-sex drugs to underage people and even performing surgeries on them? Why would you choose to make that your thing?
Because it works.
Apparently so many progressives just love it. They are so passionate about it. Case in point, since some states out there have started clamping down on child abuse, gender affirming care, We've actually seen activists come out and say they're willing to break the law in order to give these kids these drugs.
As Eli Ehrlich was his private account on Twitter posted, if you live in any of the states that are banning trans healthcare, my trans friends and I are someone prescribed testosterone, spironolactone, and estradiol. Sorry for pronouncing those. For those who are now unable to get prescriptions and no questions asked.
And as shocking as that post is just to put online for everyone to see, admitting that you're going to be breaking the law.
Breaking the law isn't inherently a bad thing, Lauren.
We even had a doctor chime in saying,
I know a lot of trans folks are losing their meds these days and can't get away with backup trends. Many states can't get access to meds. I always send refills to early medications and medications passed.
yeah, shocking stuff. And to really just drive home the point of how far and wide this stuff has spread, we've even had the Biden administration come out in support of things like surgeries and puberty blockers for underage kids.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
This stuff is everywhere. These people are evil. They are after your kids. Under no circumstances, if you are a parent, should you assume that your kid is not being influenced either at school or online or by the doctor or whatever it may be. Be a vigilant parent.
Something I want you to notice as she's talking about all this stuff is that she never proposes any kind of solution of her own. She doesn't even bring up stuff like conversion therapy, which is a common solution from conservatives and stuff. All she does is complain without providing any other kind of way to solve this problem. The only evil ones here are the ones that complain about the real solutions, which have been proven time and time again to work, but never provide any solutions of their own. It's pure projection from conservatives all the time.
And by the way, in terms of the whole slippery slope thing, this is exactly what happens when the right is not aggressive enough in defending their principles.
Lauren, what the fuck are you talking about? By the time it was March of this year, nearly 240 anti-LGBT bills were already filed against trans people. There's even a whole ass website tracking legislation against trans people and LGBT, and there's a lot of it. So what the fuck are you talking about with this, oh, they are not pushing hard enough? The conservatives are pushing super fucking hard. They're not pushing hard enough. Like, do you want them to actually genocide trans people or something? Like, what the fuck is wrong with you?
This is exactly why we need to go on the offense more. I don't know about you all, but I am done being a little misreasonable both sides. Like, no, okay, you're mutilating children. This has to stop.
They literally have nothing else to say, do they? It's just nothing but mutilating our kids and injecting kids with random hormones and shit. It's like, come up with something new. Actually say something that's a fact for once, instead of trying to vilify these medical treatments which have shown to work time and time again. Like, come on, dude.
Because that's the thing. So often when it comes to puberty blockers, we always hear the line that they are totally safe and 100% reversible, but that is simply not the case.
Who are the people saying that they are 100% reversible with no side effects or anything like that? That's never been something I've heard. The worst I've heard is that the physical effects are fully reversible, which is technically true because all it does is block off chemicals in your brain to be able to stop puberty. But other than that, I haven't seen anything else. I've never seen anybody deny like the bone density stuff and possible side effects like that. Nobody's denied that.
You see, it didn't really make big news, but even the FDA, the left's beloved FDA, recently came out and acknowledged
that, as Fox News describes, there is, quote, a link between common puberty blocker hormones and serious risks for youth who take them. Specifically, the FDA identified 6 cases of females who were taking a puberty blocker and suffered from brain swelling and vision loss.
Breaking news, everyone! Breaking news! Drugs, guess what? Wait for it! Have side effects! That's all there is. Are you fucking kidding me, Lauren? That's all you could come up with? Drugs have side effects? Scientific discovery of the fucking century, folks.
If even the FDA, who by now I hope you know is just filled with activists and political operatives,
Oh wow, the leftists were sure destroyed with facts and logic there. The institutions you point to, which you rely on for your arguments, is filled with activists and leftists. Incredible fucking argument. Facts and logic. Liberals destroyed. Also, just as a side note, acknowledging side effects that can happen isn't saying, oh, don't take them, they're dangerous now. It's just letting you know there's a small chance of this happening.
they acknowledge that, hey, maybe these things aren't completely safe, then you know there's got to be a problem there. I mean, seriously, the line that puberty blockers have absolutely no side effects, what drug do you know of has 0 side effects? I mean, you can't even take aspirin from the bottle without having to like unroll this giant list of like disclaimers and possible side effects and what to do if you do experience side effects.
Lauren, every single medication has side effects. You are completely right. And I even talk about aspirins when I talk about every single medication having side effects. Aspirins can literally burn holes in your stomach. They're called ulcers. So now let me ask, why are you still fear-mongering puberty blockers based off of these extremely rare side effects? What the fuck is your point? Like, this is so retarded. Oh my gosh, Lauren. You cannot be this fucking stupid.
So when we're talking about something that is injecting hormones into your body in order to stop puberty, like, I'm sorry, like we should all be smart enough to realize that the claim that there's 0 side effects possible, like, that there's no way that that's true. And this is especially true when it comes to the drug Lupron, which is prescribed as a puberty blocker for children, but has also been used to chemically castrate people.
Okay, so there's 2 different points to make here. For one, Lauren, drugs can be used to treat multiple different things. You even stated such back during the ivermectin discourse. I'm going to flash the tweet up on screen right now. Lupron is no exception to this kind of rule. It's also used for a few different other things, like advanced prostate cancer, endometriosis, uterine fibroids, and early onset puberty. For my second point, let's talk about how chemical castration actually works to understand why Lupron is also used for puberty blockers. So basically, during chemical castration, they basically just cut off testosterone and DHT, which is used to further puberty and everything. That also results in chemical castration. The key point that Lauren leaves out, and I'm not sure if she's genuinely fucking retarded or if she's leaving this out on purpose, is that chemical castration is not permanent. All you have to do to stop chemical castration is stop taking Lupron, and that's it. Lauren, this is a chemical. Chemicals are not permanent once you start taking them. All you have to do is get off them, and you're good. All it does is block hormones from going to your brain to further puberty. This is like common sense stuff. How do you not know? Stop taking drug, the effects stop.
As the American College of Pediatricians explains, and keep in mind that yes, they are a more conservative version of the American Association of Pediatricians, which is just like full-on activists at this point, if you ask me. I just wanted to put that out there for transparency. Not that these people aren't still doctors, but you know, they do have their own worldview. If even the FDA, who by now I hope you know is just filled with activists and political operatives, if
Oh, so it's totally fine for you to cite advocacy groups which have advocated for shit like conversion therapy. But when we cite literal government agencies and credible medical institutions, you blame leftists. You call everybody a leftist, asset or whatever. Do you not see the hypocrisy in what you're doing? Are you kidding me?
They write that puberty blockers may actually cause depression and other emotional disturbances related to suicide. They say, in fact, the package insert for Lupron, the #1 prescribed puberty blocker in America, lists emotional instability as a side effect and warns prescribers to monitor for development or worsening of psychiatric symptoms during treatment. They also note that similarly discussing experimental trial of puberty blockers in the UK, Oxford University professor Michael Pinkroff, there was no statistically significant difference in psychosocial function between the group given blockers and the group given only psychological support. In addition, there is unpublished evidence that after you're on puberty blockers, children reported greater self-harm, and the girls also experienced more behavioral and more emotional problems and expressed greater dissatisfaction with their body. So puberty blockers exacerbated gender dysphoria.
Let's go over a few different points here, shall we? So first off, suicide, depression, all of those kinds of things are not an uncommon side effect of drugs. This is present in quite a few drugs, surprisingly. Second of all, there's plenty of data and studies to show that puberty blockers do not lead to depression and suicide and all that stuff. I'll flash a few of the studies up now, but there's plenty of more where that came from.
Line we hear so often from the left, anytime someone dares to question giving children these drugs, which are also used for chemical castration, is, well, you just want trans kids to kill themselves.
Yes,
It's a super emotional argument, but according to these activists, you either let them mutilate your child or your child is gonna mutilate themselves. It's a super emotional argument. They might even kill themselves. And so for so many parents, I think they end up going along with these transitions out of fear. But the thing is, that argument from the left, that is based on absolutely nothing.
But hey, that's just a theory. A gay theory. Thanks for watching.
If you're a parent and your child is going through gender dysphoria, no, your only options aren't you either give them drugs and surgery or they kill themselves. Okay, your child is a person. Talk to them. Have a qualified professional who is not just an activist also talk to them.
Dude, they're just gonna recommend the exact same process we're saying. Social transition, puberty blockers. Oh, but then you're just gonna call them activists or whatever, right? What would a regular therapist do, in your opinion, in this case? What would they do? Propose some solutions for them. Let's hear it.
And I know, because I've been doing this for a while, that there are going to be these leftists on here commenting like, oh, well, this is just American Christian bigotry. Oh, you guys hate science. It's
Yes.
like, that's not the case either, though. Even in Europe, which is definitely no bastion for traditional or Christian principles, they are dialing back prescribing hormone blockers or puberty blockers because we just don't know enough about what the side effects are, and we already know that some of the side effects are not good.
We've literally been using drugs like Lupron since 1985 to treat stuff like early onset puberty and prostate cancer. How long will you keep arguing, oh, we don't know enough about these drugs we've been using for literal decades, in order to stop kids from taking this stuff? How long before we know enough? If 4 fucking decades isn't long enough for you, Lauren.
As an article from the Daily Wire explains, if even the FDA, who by now I hope you know is just filled with activists and political operatives, and by the way guys, I highly recommend you read this article in its entirety. It's very well written, very informative.
I was considering going in depth on it on this video, but then I read it and I was like, ugh, fuck no, it's so fucking bad.
The United Kingdom, Sweden, Finland, and France have all taken steps recently to pull back on trans medical treatments for seemingly gender dysphoric children. Sweden has been one of the most progressive nations on trans healthcare for decades. Back in 1972, Sweden became the first country to allow trans people to change their legal gender. Last year, though, Swedish hospitals halted the use of puberty blockers in 5 of the country's 6 clinics for minors with gender dysphoria. The last clinic only uses puberty blockers in clinical trials. The country now emphasizes, get this, psychotherapy for minors with gender dysphoria instead. Similarly, the UK took a step back in December 2020 when the High Court in London effectively suspended prescribing puberty blockers for children 15 and under and recommended that teens ages 16 to 18 get court approval before going on hormones. However, that decision was overturned in September, but
Lauren, honey, that is a court ruling, not hard evidence. This does nothing to prove that puberty blockers do not work.
This article, I also want to add the fact that Tavistock, the gender clinic that was operating in the UK that specifically specialized in that, that's actually going to be closing down. Yeah, you see, there was this lawsuit of people who were saying that they were actually not able to consent as children to the treatments that they were given. And even doctors who evaluated that center noted that the people there were probably too quick to just trans everybody because that's what their clinic was there for.
This is just blatantly false. I have the quote from the Dr. Cass, who ran the independent review, which got this shut down. Basically, she says that this system here, this Tavistock clinic, was being overwhelmed because it was literally the only gender clinic in the country. Something Lauren will never tell you is the independent reviewer, Dr. Cass, ended up coming out back in August saying that it's not being shut down because gender service is bad and everything. It's being shut down because gender service is good, but we need more accessibility to it since Tavistock was the only clinic in the UK for gender services. Lauren is blatantly lying and misinterpreting the situation to further this narrative of, oh, transgender healthcare bad. No, it's literally the exact opposite, according to the person who got it shut down herself.
That's really a whole story in and of itself, but I recommend you guys check out the segment by the Lotus Eaters podcast.
Hosted by the white nationalist Sargon, by the way, just saying.
If you want to learn more about it.
this article also talks about how France, again, not a conservative country, warned medical professionals in a March press release that the spike in young people saying they want to medically transition genders may be due to social contagion and urged medical personnel to approach this issue with extreme caution.
Puberty blockers are not Tic Tacs that we should be giving out to children willy-nilly. Puberty is not like a YouTube video where you can just pause and unpause it at will. Puberty blockers into the hands of children, I feel like they either know that there are side effects and they don't care, or they have so much cognitive dissonance that's been caused by ideological brainwashing that they've come to a point where it seems perfectly reasonable to them to just shoot up a 10-year-old with a puberty blocking drug and expect him to just develop normally aside from that. That's pretty much all I have to say for now.
And that's all I have to say too. I've got nothing else to say either, so, yeah. I don't really have an idea for an outro, so, yeah, I'll see you guys later.
Wow!